Do you know what Bollinger Bands are? In this short video, we're going to look at Bollinger Bands. Just as some background, I had the opportunity to have a short article in the November edition of the Bombay Brokers Forum, Forum Views, and in that article, I looked very quickly at the iShares, MSCI iShares ETF for India, INDA, and I looked at the 3-year performance, and then the 3-year performance with the 200-day simple moving average added, where you can see there was a buy signal back in 2020 and a sell signal sometime at the beginning of this year. Then I added in a blue line the 50-day moving average to show that if you add another technical parameter, it's going to change more frequency of trading. Now, I wanted to add Bollinger Bands to the end of this article, perhaps, but then it made it perhaps too long, too technical. So this was just a quick introduction. Then today I saw the posting of Dr. Aditya, who's the CEO of the Bombay Broker Forum. And so that inspired me to update my charts. And so what I did is I've added the Bollinger Bands, and I'll just give a quick explanation of that. The nice thing about both the article and this PDF is that if you click on the links to the chart, it'll automatically open up on the desktop version the exact same chart. And this is Koifin, which is a free app you just register with. So the first chart that I added to my update is the iShares S&P 500 ETF, ticker IVV, versus the iShares India ETF, ticker INDA. And this is the 3-year, because the CMT technicians said that they're very bullish on India. And we can see here, if we look at the 3-year performance, it's quite favorable between the Indian and market and the S&P 500. Then again, I provide the links here to the Koifin chart and to the iShares site for both ETFs. Then I've added the 5-year chart, and then we can see the S&P 500 has outperformed most markets around the world for the last 10 to 15 years. So this chart is not as surprising, but we can see that for the 5-year performance, the S&P 500 has outperformed INDA. Then finally, on this last chart, I've added the Bollinger Bands. And again, if we click on the link, it's going to bring up the chart, and I'll just give a quick explanation of the Bollinger Bands. Now, why is this important? If we go into the CFA Level I curriculum and we search the book for Bollinger Bands, the first thing that we find is we always look in the glossary. So what are Bollinger Bands? Well, it's a price-based technical indicator consisting of a line representing the moving average, a higher line representing the moving average plus a set number of standard deviations from the average, and they're usually always using 2 standard deviations in the charts, in my example, and both in the text, for the same number of periods as was used to calculate the moving average, 20 days. And a lower line representing the moving average minus the number of standard deviations, okay? So then if we just scroll through the CFA Level I text where I did the search for Bollinger Bands, we're just going to scroll down, and we're going to pick up here. So if we look here in the 2023 CFA Level I official curriculum, Learning Module 4, Technical Analysis, in the Portfolio Management section, you can see they Exhibit 32. They've got the Bollinger Bands using a 20-day moving average and 2 standard deviations, and they're looking at Microsoft. So they've put the solid lines above and below the price line, which is the 20-day moving average plus or minus 2 standard deviations, okay? So my advice for people studying for the exam is always try to apply it, get curious, spend a bit of time. So this video is meant to highlight, if I see something in the CFA text, oh, maybe I'll do some Bollinger Bands in the free app Koifin and pick up my understanding and knowledge of the area. Okay, so that's the intention of this video. So if we go back to what I included in my charts, this is INDA year to date. So again, the green line is the price line for the ETF. The yellow line is the 200-day moving average. And then the blue line is the bottom line on the 2 standard deviations. Top line is the plus 2 standard deviations. So basically, as I had showed in my article, when you're looking at the 200-day moving average, when the price line cuts from below the average to above, it's a buy signal, and from top to bottom, that's a sell signal. And long-term on average, if there's a long trend, we could see with INDA, you know, in a 3-year period or 2.5-year period, there's 1 buy signal, 1 sell signal. It's a little bit more complicated when markets get sideways, okay? So if we look at Bollinger Bands, what that does is increase the frequency of trading perhaps, because we can see here when the price line hits the bottom 2 standard deviations, it's a buy signal, and when it hits the top of the Bollinger Band, again, it's a sell signal. So that would be roughly buy, sell, buy, sell. But again, you can get into some complexity with regards to shorter term volatilities, okay? So that, I hope, explains Bollinger Bands. Don't forget to always look at the blue box examples and end of chapter, end of reading questions, because here you can see question 12. It's asking you a question, and indeed one of the choices is C, Bollinger Bands. And in fact, the correct answer is C in Bollinger Bands. So a lot of times we learn a little bit more information from the solution or how things are worded. On the exam, many questions are based on blue box examples and end of reading summary problems. Then if we look at the end of reading practice questions for Bollinger Bands, again, I like to use the search because it'll highlight things. We can see that there's 5 questions that mention Bollinger Bands. If we look at question 35, for example, it says Bollinger Bands are constructed by plotting A, MACD line and a signal line, B, a moving average line with an upward trend line and a downward line below, or is it C, a moving average line with upper and lower lines that are a set number of standard deviations apart? Well, you can see question 35, that brings up another point. That is based just 100% on the definition that we saw in the glossary, and that's why I tell students the glossary is so important. That's a definition question. And then, as I mentioned, if you want to apply it in the real world, you have the example in the textbook as Microsoft, but go into a COIFIN chart, something that I've dated here, INDA, year to date, and you can clearly see that's the price line, that's the 200-day moving average, that's the 20-day simple moving average in the red line, and then you can see it's 2 standard deviations above and 2 standard deviations below. Don't only memorize the definition, but work with the charts and explore your, be curious, do a little bit extra. And then finally, I want to remind people that the best way to prepare for the CFA exams is to practice, practice, practice. And in the Wiley MCQ bank that we have with our offering, there's 459 questions on portfolio management, and there's 85 questions on technical analysis learning module 4. So we can see that there's 85 excellent practice questions on technical analysis in the Wiley question bank. And again, my advice is, as always, if you get something wrong, then what you do is you go back to the official CFA curriculum. This is the official text, and you look up, you find in the text where you made a mistake. Okay, finally, one of the last things that I could do just for a little bit of fun is I can try to recreate the chart from the textbook. So Exhibit 32, Bollinger Bands using 20-day moving average and 2 standard deviations, looking at Microsoft from September 2018 to April 2019. So if I go into COIFIN, nice free desktop app, type in MSFT, click on it. I'm going to choose Technicals, and then I can change the dates first of all. So I'm going to go back to September 2018. Second. Here we go. We'll make it the beginning of the month until April 2019. Make it the end of the month. Apply the dates. And then I'll take off a couple of technical indicators that are not in the chart, including the 200-day simple moving average. I will change the chart to a line chart. And there we have it. We have the exact same chart, which is in the official CFA curriculum, Learning by Doing. Thank you and have a nice day.